Elon's Twitter needs a new Musk because something doesn't smell right. The company is devolving into an unseemly moral sewer where Nazis go to network and bigots like to bloviate. Twitter is quickly moving from a social media to a social menacing site. Within hours of Musk taking over the company, Twitter was flooded with racist, sexist, homophobic, and anti-Semitic bile. Right-wing incels were so enraptured with their new freedom to spew that they had their first orgasms that didn't involve their hands. Elon must be so proud. The views on the part-time entrepreneur and full-time egotist have always been incoherent. Here's a guy with an electric car company who supports a political party, the Republicans, who don't believe in climate change or science. Go figure that one out. Elon Musk wants to relocate to Mars, but based on his early ownership of Twitter, he's already spaced out. His bizarre worldview doesn't distinguish between free speech, hate speech, and false speech. This creates dangerous conditions where haters suppress genuine free speech by harassing minorities into silence. When people are cowed into submission by bullies, it distorts and damages our democracy. On Elon's Twitter, we can expect anti-vaxxers to vie for attention with anti-Semites. This is particularly disturbing with 300 to 500 daily COVID deaths in America. The online attacks against Jews are metastasizing and migrating from cyberspace to our living space. In Charlotte, a man dressed in a Nazi uniform walked into a bar before he was run out by disgusted customers. In Los Angeles, an anti-Semitic group, the Goyim Defense League, draped a gigantic banner over a busy Los Angeles highway saying, "Kanye is right about the Jews." The Goyim Defense League repeated their despicable antics in Jacksonville, Florida. Kanye's hideous message was projected on buildings or flashed on screens throughout the city. This included TIAA Bank Field Stadium, where the Universities of Georgia and Florida football teams played. While many public officials condemned the hate, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis remained silent days after the anti-Semitic incidents. Charlie Crist, a Democrat who was running to replace DeSantis, slammed the governor. He said, "I am disgusted and horrified at the hateful anti-Semitic rhetoric that was displayed in Jacksonville over the weekend. Hate should have no home in Florida, period. But while anti-Semitism is spreading in our state, Governor DeSantis refuses to condemn it, even when it is broadcast on the side of a stadium he is in." This has become a disturbing pattern with DeSantis, who attacks drag queens with gusto, but miraculously loses his voice when it comes to speaking out against Nazis. In May, I observed, quote, "In January, a group of white supremacists marched into Orlando. They yelled anti-Semitic slurs and screamed, 'White power!' while waving an anti-Biden banner. DeSantis' press secretary, Christina Pushaw, responded by tweeting about the Nazi march. She said, 'Do we even know they're Nazis?' Well, yeah, maybe because they told you they were." She later had to delete this tweet after an incredible amount of criticism. Instead of making it clear that Nazis aren't welcome in Florida, DeSantis played the victim and whined. So what I'm going to say is these people, these Democrats who are trying to use this as some type of political issue to try to smear me as if I had something to do with that, we're not playing their game. Apparently, the Nazis noticed DeSantis' his welcome mat and followed up their initial action by brazenly waving Hitler flags outside the entrance to Walt Disney World. This leads us back to Twitter, where Elon Musk is providing a safe space for unsavory elements to spread their messages. If you think he will moderate the haters, consider that he can't even control his own impulses and tweets defamatory trash to his 100 million plus followers. For example, he had to delete his own tweet responding to a post by Hillary Clinton. Musk tweeted that, quote, "There is a tiny possibility there might be more to the story," referring to the failed assassination attempt of Nancy Pelosi and the brutal attack on her husband, Paul Pelosi, in San Francisco. Like a typical mindless right-wing hack, Musk linked to an opinion piece in the tweet by the Santa Monica Observer. Yeah, I haven't heard of it either, but apparently it's some nutty right-wing site without a shard of credibility. But apparently it was good enough for Elon Musk. The article claimed, without providing even a shard of factual evidence, that Pelosi was drunk at the time of the assault and in a dispute with a male prostitute. The article was unsourced, and its author wrote the conspiracy theory was based on IMHO, which is internet lingo for "in my humble opinion," because, that's always a great way to source your stories, in my humble opinion. I mean, think about that for a moment. The head of Twitter put something out there so thinly sourced, put something out there with no credibility, and did so about an assassination attempt. You would think he'd be more serious and have more integrity and more feeling and decency to do something like that right after an attack. Since we're talking about humble opinions, here's my humble opinion about Elon Musk. Twitter will be his downfall. One can have all the money in the world, but it's useless in trying to repair a destroyed reputation. Musk is on the verge of moving from tycoon to buffoon. He has claimed that Twitter is the modern town square, but it's looking more like a clown square under his leadership. In trying to secure his company's new finances, Elon pledged to advertisers that Twitter would not become a hellscape. But as of today, it's looking more like Elon's inferno, and we're already in the fifth circle of hell and descending faster than one of his rocket ships. Joan Donovan of the Technology and Social Change Research Project said, quote, Musk owning Twitter is like putting a fox in charge of the henhouse when it comes to political misinformation. When he first bought Twitter, a celebratory Musk wrote, "The bird is freed." In little more than a week, it looks more like a sick canary in the coal mine, choking to death on the ashes of hate and intolerance. Musk's naive vision has quickly transformed Twitter into a grotesque den of ignorance and iniquity. A social media platform without serious attempts at moderation is proving itself worthy of liquidation. Elon Musk and Twitter must go.